So what does $600 get me that I can't get for myself? What this class has, according to the way it's advertised, is the exact same as classes I have already gone through. But first, a beer break. It's just another product that fails to adequately separate itself from the pre-existing competition because that company knows they don't have to get your money. Bro, the glare off my head is so intense right now. These opinions have been inspired by beer. Greetings, my fellow firearms nerds. I am James Shahan. I'm the owner and instructor for Eagle Defense, which is a Sacramento, California-based firearms training company. I mostly do CCW and armed security or BSIS training. I also do like basic pistol and different, progressive skill levels and so forth. Background on me, if you are not familiar, got about 12 years Army experience, deployments, and active duty, National Guard, blah, blah, whatever. 8 years civilian law enforcement, but it was just DOD civilian law enforcement, so it's nothing crazy, but, okay. And I've been doing on and off private security jobs from various uniform things to various plainclothes things since about 2007 when I got off active duty. I've been on and off teaching since about 2008, 2009. I really didn't get too serious with it till about 2012 or so. But I have been fairly busy in the game for long enough to form an opinion based on what I see and comparing it to what else I have seen. What I'm not trying to do in this video is just shit talk USCCA. I do think they're a fine organization, and in a lot of states where they don't have preset standards and curriculums and stuff like that, these guys do a great job. California, it's a different game. I'm going to preference this off the bat. If you have some dumb fuckhead comment about California politics or this fucking commie California, shut the fuck up and leave that short bus shit to yourself, because you're not helping anyone and you're not helping any conversations. I would ask that your comments be limited to the relevancy of the content I am presenting and not just your fucking dumbass Reddit subforum opinions that you're just rewashing here. The question I'm going to be kind of answering, or at least just exploring the topic of, is what is the value of a USCCA instructor certification if you are a California-based firearms instructor? If you're in Nevada, shut the fuck up. If you're in Texas, shut the fuck up. If you're in Idaho, shut the fuck up. If you're in anywhere that's not California, your opinion does not matter because this is not relevant to you. Really, this video will have very little relevance to anyone because this is basically B2B firearms content. I am not here to insult the USCCA, their instructors, their lesson plans, their topics, the blah, 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 none of that stuff. I am simply trying to figure out what the value of this certification carries as a business development tool. For those of you that just want the answer up front, you don't want to watch this video, I will put like different topic chapters throughout the video down in the description, but effectively after emailing, after talking to people, after browsing online, the only conclusion I can come to, and it's reinforced by other fellow instructors I've spoken with, is the only thing you get out of this is for $600 you get put on their listing. That's it. And in that same vein, I will go over briefly the kind of I don't want to say predatory, but for lack of a better term, predatory marketing tactics that the firearms industry as a whole will use on firearms instructors who don't know anything about business operations or digital marketing, just want to teach firearms classes. And some of these companies, I'm not saying USCCA is or is not one of them, but they will just present this package to instructors and go, here, give us your money, and in turn, we'll make you more money. All right, we're going to start with the whole foundation of this video, which is the qualifications you need to become a CCW instructor. Now, backstory. Back in the day, maybe 5 or so years ago, some number of years ago, The standard for a CCW instructor used to be you could go out, get NRA pistol instructor certified, which was 2 days and like $300 back then. You go drop, you take that certification, you send it to California DOJ, and you apply to be a DOJ firearms instructor, which at the time was a HSC firearms instructor. Pardon me. So the HSC used to be this thing you had to have. It was the handgun safety certificate. So a DOJ instructor years ago really used to be a test proctor. I don't know why they called it an instructor. Maybe they expected you to teach a class to someone before they took a test. But really, a DOJ instructor back in the day used to just be a test proctor. So you took that DOJ certification, and that qualified you to be a CCW instructor for basically every city and county and jurisdiction in California. Since, I don't know, right here, since 2024, they changed that, and you basically had to have a law enforcement specific firearms instructor certification, because I assume, an assumption I make, is that the thought being is that since CCW deals with private citizens using firearms for self-defense, you need to have an applicable prerequisite course, and NRA basic pistol is just a marksmanship course. I assume that's why they did that. So effective last year, Jesus. Anyone that wants to teach CCW has to have one of the following courses or certifications. BSIS, this is what I have. This is what I am certified in. I'm certified in BSI armed security training. Now, I will tell you, if anyone's curious, a BSIS firearms instructor certification is just a certification. It's not a course that you go to. It's just like the DOJ thing. You have to go out, take a law enforcement class, and then apply for this. In order to get my BSIS, I used this right down here. Actually, specifically this guy. I am NRA law enforcement handgun instructor certified from like 2013. I let that thing expire because I didn't need it anymore, because professionally, everything for me is right here. My BSI certificate qualifies me for basically anything firearms instructor certification related in California. You can be post, which is usually a 1 to 2 week class. Generally, only police officers can go to that. I think there was a company teaching it to private citizens for a while. I don't know if they're still doing that. Post, years and years ago, basically stopped taking new private company contractors for training. So you basically have to go through a police department unless you could find one of the few private companies that will take a private citizen not directly affiliated with a law enforcement agency. Authorization from state accredited, blah, blah. I think this is like, let's say you're teaching like PC 832 firearms at a community college, but you don't have any firearms instructor training, and the college just goes, and look, kablam, you're an instructor. I think this is what that is. I guess Highway Patrol and CDCR has their own thing, NRA law enforcement instructor, which is me, and then a few other NRA classes. But what you don't see up here specifically is the USCCA Instructor certification. And I don't see where they would fall. So they would have to fall into this, which my understanding is they don't. Now, I did email a couple guys, a few training counselors throughout California, go, hey, I directly asked DOJ, and they basically just copied and pasted this. They didn't give me a yes or no answer. What's the deal? And all those guys were like, yeah, USCCA is not good to go for DOJ, but we do teach you about the process, which is fair and honest. This is one of the currently available USCCA instructor courses you could take somewhere in California. I've basically redacted the personal information just out of politeness, I suppose, just out of professional courtesy. But you'll see, like, they'll walk you through the process of being a DOJ instructor right here. But you notice it doesn't specifically say that this qualifies you to be a DOJ instructor. See that? So upon successfully completing the course, you will also be a firearm instructor. You could teach their in-house courses, and it's really great. And yay, quality. But anyone Everyone basically knows that if you're trying to take this course, the end result is to be able to teach California CCW classes because that's where the money is. I don't have a single friend I can think of in California that has taken a USCCA class. I don't think that exists. I have plenty of friends that are going to other training companies and doing their own thing. I just put my wife through GCS, Curtis Gardner's training group. Super quality. Don't give a damn if he's USCCA certified. But if we see right in here, this is 2 days and $600. That's before we factor in how much time, effort, and energy and resources and everything it's going to take you to get to this class. So let's say you're way up in Northern California and this class is down in San Diego or Los Angeles or the Bay Area. That's a lot of money. That's a lot of time for something that is not directly going to be proven to help your business. Now, if it's not going to help your business, then we need to look at it from the standpoint of sustainment training or professional development, which is valid, which is totally valid. It's the same as learning about how people learn or going to other instructor classes and seeing, how they're running things, or maybe you can RSO with someone, but it's basically under the category of in-service training. Okay, so under that, for $600, what are we getting? Day 1, top 10 instructor mistakes, how to avoid them. Wow, that's not clickbaity. Teaching best practices, running a safe live fire range. Wow, that's specific. That's a great $600 sale. Day 2, demonstrate your knowledge of the training material, blah, blah, blah. You'll run live fire range, guiding your peers, yada, 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 yada. So for $600, you get the same, according to how I read this, it's the same generic bullshit that every other firearms instructor 2-day course offers. So what is the product differentiation here? How is what USCCA is teaching superior to NRA personal protection in or outside the home? Or what's the big one? That's Tactical Hive, which I haven't even looked at yet. Or the SIG Academy. Or I think Glock is still doing a 2-day firearms instructor thing. So what's the difference? What makes, for $600, what makes this superior to everything else that's on the market? Pause for Modelo break. I emailed a couple other instructors, specifically in California, and I was like, yo, I need your help. Like, what's the point? So I sent some emails out, and I was looking for very specific answers to very specific questions. I am already CCW and BSIS instructor certified. So whatever prerequisites this class were to offer me, let's say it were good to go for CCW instruction. That doesn't apply to me. So what's the pitch going forward? I have a pretty good client base for both permanent and progressive skill training. So like basic pistol, defensive pistol, stuff like that. So what does $600 get me that I can't get for myself? Am I basically just paying for the listing? Which, caveat, I would be fine for paying $600 for a listing if someone could give me a metric of how much more business that listing will get me versus not having the listing. And lastly, basically, how does it improve my ability to gain new customers versus what I'm potentially losing by not carrying this certification? Again, I am not saying that this is a poor quality course. I'm not saying that the instructors are of poor quality. I'm not insulting or trying to downgrade the quality of the organization, the person's teaching it, or the content within. I am simply saying, hey man, what this class has, according to the way it's advertised, is the exact same as classes I have already gone through that have allowed me to meet administrative prerequisites that I need to make fucking money. So what's the point? What's the value of this as in-service or progressive training? The main theme of this person's answer was ambiguous. It was a sales pitch, and I don't think it was a sales pitch. I mean, look, if you're in sales, which I was, so I owned retail stores for a couple years, and I've dealt with different vendors and sales vendors and trade shows and people trying to cold call, all this shit, right? I can tell when someone either doesn't have an answer or doesn't have an answer at the level of specificity you want, because maybe they've never been asked that question before. What you get is some of the best prepared materials and information for properly training your students on CCW, but there's no context in that. What are those materials? What am I current? So you as a professional, I assume, to make that statement, have analyzed what I do and found it deficient pending this course. That was not here. So this is, to me, this is a sales pitch. You also learn how to become a really great instructor. Yeah, I have learned how to become a really great instructor. In my opinion, I am a pretty great instructor. This is, and the metric that I have to prove this is dollars and return business and social media interactions. So again, for $600, what gap are you filling? Takes people to a new level. Curriculum is also recognized by many states as state-approved training for their CCWs. Okay, so again, I am already pre-licensed for BSIS training, and I have all my other blah, blah, blah. That's kind of all you need. So with other states, here's the other thing that this person is not mentioning. If you are NRA Basic Pistol certified, which is half the cost, you can be a CCW instructor for other states, because I am currently going through that process. I've had whose only complaints is they wish they had known this before, blah, blah, blah. You also get the benefit of being listed on a nationally recognized, which has blah, 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 audience of over 850,000 members. Now, this is good. This is being steered in the right direction. This is a metric. The problem I have with this statement is if there's 850,000 members, how many of them are in Northern California? Because if we're saying this is a nationally recognized blah, blah, blah with 850,000 members, well, if 0 of them are in Northern California, then this course does me dick and said, hey, in California, USCCA has this many members. Well, the other problem that I have with this is of those members, how many are not certified for concealed permits? See what I'm saying? Again, how does this help my business if I've already met the prerequisite to make money? Now we're going to kind of get into this general theme that I talked about earlier about semi-predatory marketing tactics. I'm just going to leave the CRPA website up just because I love this organization. So now I'm going to kind of talk about what I alluded to earlier briefly about basically not I don't want to say predatory, because I mean, in theory, marketing by itself is designed to be predatory, I guess. And this is coming from a guy that's working on his marketing associates. Ooh, fucking fancy. So from a business standpoint, I have been running my teaching business since about, let's say like 2010, 2011, 2012, somewhere in there, to varying degrees of seriousness. Doing my own marketing, booking my own venues, scheduling my own classes, literally doing everything by myself, to include designing and improving my own lesson plans. Also on the business side, away from firearms, as I alluded to, I co-own a paintball and airsoft field, and I have previously owned a paintball field. So if anyone's from the Sacramento area, I am the current owner of Predator Paintball, but we had to shut that down a couple years ago because it just wasn't making money. And I also owned an airsoft retail store in Roseville called the Arms Room. Both of them were basically strictly retail. The firearms industry, similar to the airsoft and paintball industry, on an ownership level, like on a management ownership level, like the dudes that say, hey, this is going to happen, and then it happens. Most of those folks are in their 50s if they're young. I turned 40 this year, And I'm still probably one of the youngest dudes doing it. There's a few guys in their 30s here and there, but generally, getting back to the firearms world, in the firearms world, you see a lot of older gentlemen. Well, I work in the airsoft paintball industry. I worked around and consulted with a lot of guys in that same age range. And one of the things that has been consistent in both of those industries amongst both those demographics is neither one of those fucking groups care, have, or want anything to do with marketing, specifically social media. Now, mind you, in paintball and airsoft, it is a very young demographic. You have to be on social media. I knew a guy, and I'm still friends with him to this day, and I fucking love this guy. He's one of my mentors. He said something to the effect of he doesn't believe in marketing because a long time ago he bought airtime on a local country radio station for his airsoft field. The average customer demographic for an airsofter is a high school age male. That's not a lot of folks listening to a country radio station, but he liked country music, and that was his favorite radio station. So I say that to say, the older generation, basically the folks that are old enough to be just about old enough to be my dad, don't understand or want to understand digital marketing techniques. It's just they want to work on they want to work, they want to build things, they love construction, they love working in physical things. So many guys I know would rather build a fucking house by themselves than take a picture of it and put it online. So because of this, we see all these products and services in the firearms teaching industry, really in the firearms industry as a whole. We see all these products and services that are marketed as being more or less guaranteed to build their customer base, or this, if you give us your money, we'll make you better at what you do, and if you're better at what you do, you'll make more money. It's kind of like the fitness or supplement equivalent of like the magic pill. Like, if you just take this pill, you can keep eating fucking cake and not going to the gym, and you'll be skinny and you'll look like the fucking Rock. But if you're a small firearms company, like a local one, like you really only teach within the tri-county area, within like a 3-county area, most likely you have some sort of professional background in firearms. So an overwhelming number of dudes teaching CCWs in California, because of the current laws, are prior military, prior law enforcement folks, because they were able to get all their certifications together. And so many of those guys just want to be on the range. If they could live on a gun range, they would be the happiest deer in the forest. You know what I mean? They're doing everything from their their lesson plan making, their lesson planning. They're doing the safety thing. They've got all their gear out. They're like, yeah, I'm going to teach this basic pistol class. I'm so great. I got my fucking plate carrier and my little 511 hat, and I'm going to wear it backwards, and I put my fucking Oakley sunglasses on. Like, all that stuff, right? But what they don't want to do is document that experience and put it online for other customers to see, because they personally have a problem with social media. Either they don't believe in it, they think it's like, oh, the algorithm's going to get into my brain, or blah, blah, blah. Like, insert reason they personally don't like social media here, and now that personal bias will translate over into their business tactics. So if you don't like Facebook personally, you damn sure don't want to use Facebook for your business, because in your head, Facebook hate guns, which we all know is not true, because I've had my Facebook page and my Instagram for well over 10 years, and I have done pictures of guns, different words using guns. I have done paid Facebook and Instagram ads for my gun classes. No flags, no nothing. My account's good to go. But they have all these things in their head that justify them to not take part in digital marketing or in any sort of new business development tool. They just like standing still where they are and having people come to them. So you take this understanding about your customer demographic and you start creating these packages like insert firearms instructor course here, and you say, oh, this is great and it's quality and we love safety and blah 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 trainings, and you just throw in all these old fucking range cliches and this generic ass 2-day lesson plan that literally every fucking one else has been doing for the last 10 fucking years, because those companies know that when that firearms instructor sees it, he's going to go, oh, this will make me better, which will make me more money. I like money. I'll give you money, and in return, you're going to help me make more money. It's like they think it's like the fucking a guaranteed stock tip. But in reality, it's not. It's just another product that fails to adequately separate itself from the pre-existing competition because that company knows they don't have to get your money.